There is an animal sitting in a river in South America right now, half submerged in warm water, surrounded by birds sitting on its back, while a family of ducks floats nearby, and a couple of monkeys groom each other on the bank 3 feet away. And the animal at the center of all of this is doing nothing except existing, which is apparently enough to make every other animal in the vicinity want to be near it. The capybara did not work for this. It did not earn it. It simply is what it is, and what it is turns out to be the single most socially successful animal in South America, accepted by every species that encounters it, threatened by almost none, moving through its environment with the specific tranquility of an animal that has solved the social problem so completely that the solution has become invisible. This is the story of why being born a capybara is, by almost any reasonable measure, extremely good. The first thing to understand about the capybara is its size, because the size is the foundation of everything else. The capybara is the largest rodent alive on Earth. A fully grown adult male weighs between 40 and 66 kilograms, between 88 and 146 pounds, and stands about 60 centimeters at the shoulder, roughly the size of a large dog, but considerably more solid. This is not a mouse that got big. It is a rodent that evolution scaled up to a size that changes the rules of the game it is playing. The size matters because of what it does to the capybara's relationship with the food chain. A mouse lives in a world where almost everything larger than it is a potential predator. A capybara lives in a world where the list of things that can actually hunt and kill it is much shorter. Jaguars, pumas, anacondas, caimans, and large birds of prey when a capybara is young. Everything else in the South American ecosystem is either smaller than the capybara, not interested in the capybara, or actively seeking the capybara's company. The size also changes the capybara's relationship with food. Being large means having a large digestive system, which means being able to process plant material that smaller animals cannot extract sufficient nutrition from. The capybara eats grass, aquatic plants, fruit, bark, and the specific dietary items that the South American riverside provides in abundance. It eats a lot of it, between 3 and 4 kilograms per day, and its digestive system handles this volume with a specific efficiency that involves, among other things, eating its own feces in the morning. This requires a brief explanation, because it sounds worse than it is. The capybara practices coprophagy, the consumption of its own droppings, specifically the soft cecotropes produced in the first pass of digestion, which contain partially processed plant material and significant quantities of protein-rich gut bacteria. By eating these cecotropes, the capybara essentially runs its food through its digestive system twice, extracting nutrition in the second pass that the first pass left behind. Rabbits do the same thing. Koalas do something similar. It is a highly efficient nutritional strategy that is considerably less gross when understood as the biological equivalent of a second helping. The capybara lives in groups of 10 to 30 individuals, occasionally more, in the social organization that is one of its most distinctive and most consequential features. The group is not a random assemblage. It is a coherent social unit with a dominance hierarchy, shared territory, cooperative predator detection, and a specific social bonding behaviors, grooming, vocalizing, sleeping, and physical contact that maintain group cohesion over time. The group is why birds sit on capybaras. This requires explanation because it is one of the most photographed phenomena in the animal kingdom and one of the most frequently misunderstood. The bird sitting on a capybara's back, typically cattle egrets or various species of tyrant flycatchers, or in some regions yellow-headed hydrochaeris, are eating the ticks, flies, and other ectoparasites that accumulate on any large warm-blooded mammal spending time near water. This is a cleaning symbiosis, a mutualistic relationship in which the bird gets food and the capybara gets parasite removal. The capybara does not merely tolerate this. It facilitates it. It holds still. It adopts postures that give the birds access to difficult areas. It does not flinch, does not shake the birds off, does not regard the presence of a bird on its head as a problem requiring action. It has apparently incorporated the existence of cleaning birds into its behavioral framework so completely that the bird's presence is simply a feature of the world, the way a human might feel about a barber. Not something you particularly think about while it's happening, but something you would miss if it stopped. The same logic extends to the capybara's relationship with almost every other species in its environment. The capybara is not aggressive. It is not territorial in the sense of excluding other species from its space. It is not easily startled by the presence of animals that do not represent an actual threat. The result is that the capybara's resting spot becomes a kind of neutral zone, a location where the normal predator-prey tensions of the ecosystem are suspended because the capybara itself is not participating in them at the moment, and its relaxed body language communicates this to everything nearby. Ducks drift close because the capybara is not alarming. Herons stand nearby because the capybara is not alarming. Small mammals approach to drink because the capybara is not alarming. The capybara is a living signal of safety, not because it has any particular power to provide safety, but because its own calm is contagious, its own threat assessment visible, its own body language communicating that whatever it has assessed the immediate environment to contain, it has found acceptable. This is the capybara's social superpower, and it is available entirely for free. The capybara does not perform friendliness. It does not work at inclusion. It simply has a temperament that the evolution of a large, semi-aquatic, group-living herbivore in a complex ecosystem produced, and that temperament happens to make it the most universally liked animal on a continent full of animals that are not universally liked. The water is where the capybara is most completely itself, and the capybara's relationship with water is worth understanding as a specific engineering achievement rather than just a preference. The capybara's eyes, ears, and nostrils are positioned high on its head, in a line, so that it can float with almost its entire body submerged while still seeing, hearing, and smelling the environment above the waterline. This is the same positioning that crocodilians use, and it is for the same reason. A large animal that can disappear into water while maintaining full sensory contact with the surface is an animal that has solved the problem of escaping terrestrial predators while retaining the ability to monitor threats. The capybara can hold its breath for up to 5 minutes. It can sleep in the water with just its nose above the surface. It can swim at a reasonable pace and dive when threatened, using the water as a refuge in the same way that a rabbit uses a burrow. On land, the capybara is vulnerable. In water, it is approximately as safe as it gets. Its feet are partially webbed, which makes it a competent swimmer without making it a dedicated aquatic animal. It is semi-aquatic in the truest sense, at home in both environments, dependent on neither, able to exploit the resources of both the waterside vegetation and the aquatic plants that form the other major component of its diet. The ecology of the South American river system is, for a capybara, a continuous buffet operating at a level of abundance that the word comfortable does not fully capture. The capybara's vocalization system is more complex than its placid appearance suggests, which is a pattern that appears repeatedly when you examine any aspect of the capybara carefully. The surface reads as simple, and the underlying reality is more sophisticated. Capybaras produce a range of sounds: purrs, barks, whistles, clicking sounds, a specific alarm call, that communicate different types of information to the group. The alarm bark, produced when a predator is detected, spreads through the group rapidly and triggers coordinated movement toward the water. The group using the collective sensory capacity of 30 animals to respond to threats that any individual might miss. This collective vigilance is one of the core benefits of group living, and the capybara benefits from it extensively. A single capybara, standing alone at the riverside, is an animal that must divide its attention between grazing and watching for threats, the classic problem of any prey species in a predator-rich environment. A capybara in a group of 30 is an animal where the vigilance is distributed, where the probability that at least one member of the group will detect an approaching predator before it reaches striking range is substantially higher than the probability for any individual, and where the alarm system ensures that detection by one member of the group benefits all members. The young capybaras, called pups, are born into this group system and benefit from it immediately. Capybara pups are precocial, born with their eyes open, able to walk within hours, capable of eating grass within their first week of life. They are not helpless newborns requiring weeks of intensive parental care. They are functional juveniles almost immediately, able to participate in the group's activities from the beginning. What makes this particularly notable is the communal care that capybara groups provide for their young. Pups are nursed not only by their own mothers, but by other nursing females in the group, a practice called allonursing that is relatively rare among mammals, but that appears consistently in capybara social groups. The pups also spend time with adults other than their parents, are protected by the group collectively when threats approach, and learn the group's behavioral repertoire through observation of all the adults around them rather than exclusively through their parent. The capybara pup is, from its first days of life, embedded in a social network that provides food, protection, and behavioral learning from multiple sources simultaneously. This is an extraordinarily rich developmental environment for a rodent, and it produces adults who are socially sophisticated in ways that their reputation as large, calm, not particularly interesting river rodents does not fully convey. The capybara's relationship with humans deserves its own examination because it is one of the more interesting human-animal relationships currently operating in South America. In much of the capybara's range, particularly in urban and suburban areas of Brazil and Argentina, where riverside habitat persists alongside human development, capybaras have adapted to human presence with the same equanimity they bring to every other species they encounter. Capybaras in suburban Sao Paulo, in the parks and golf courses and riverside areas where their habitat intersects with urban development, have become a social media phenomenon not because they're doing anything unusual, but because they are being themselves in proximity to humans. And being themselves in proximity to humans looks to the humans observing it like the most relaxed and self-possessed behavior possible. Capybaras sitting on golf courses while golfers play around them. Capybaras resting in suburban parks while children play nearby. Capybaras in the water while people swim in the same river. Not because they are domesticated, not because they are tame in any trained sense, but because they assessed the situation, found it non-threatening, and responded accordingly. In some rural communities, capybaras are hunted for food, and their meat has been consumed in South America for thousands of years. The Catholic Church in Venezuela granted the capybara special dispensation centuries ago to be classified as fish for the purposes of Lenten dietary restrictions, a theological flexibility apparently motivated by the fact that the capybara lives near water and tastes, reportedly, not unlike fish-adjacent meat. This is either the most absurd or the most pragmatic application of religious dietary law in history, depending on your perspective, and the capybara was apparently indifferent to the classification either way. The capybara has no interest in being impressive. It has no bright colors to display, no elaborate threat postures to perform, no specialized capabilities that require a scientific paper to explain. It is large, calm, semi-aquatic, and herbivorous. It spends a significant portion of each day sitting in water. It lets birds land on it. It sleeps in groups with its family members arranged in physical contact, which produces the pile of capybaras visible in so many photographs, and which is not a performance for any audience, but simply the way that capybaras sleep when they have the option. There is a concept in evolutionary biology called niche construction, the idea that animals do not merely adapt to their environments, but actively shape the environments they inhabit, creating conditions that favor their own success and the success of other species that benefit from their presence. The capybara is a mild example of this. Its grazing shapes the vegetation around riverbanks. Its wallowing creates small pools that other animals use. Its presence creates the conditions of reduced tension and distributed vigilance that make its resting spots attractive to other species. The capybara builds nothing, plans nothing, achieves nothing in any deliberate sense. It simply exists at a scale and in a manner that makes the world around it slightly better for other animals, slightly more relaxed, slightly more abundant in the specific signal of safety that its calm body language continuously broadcasts. This is not an achievement. It is a disposition. The capybara is calm because its evolutionary history produced calm, because calm works for an animal of its size and its environment, because the specific pressures that shaped the capybara across millions of years of South American evolution produced an animal for whom the default state is something very close to contentment. The river is warm. The grass is abundant. The group is nearby. The birds on its back are handling the parasites. The sun is going down, and the capybara will sleep in the shallows tonight, its nostrils above the waterline, surrounded by its family. Nothing is required of it except to be what it is. It has been doing that for 8 million years. It is very good at it.